Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion on adopting omnichannel platforms for effective customer complaint management and retention strategies. I'm Benazir Mujawar from Tata Digital Private Limited, and I'm honored to be here as your moderator for this panel discussion. We'll delve into this interesting yet highly critical topic of adopting omnichannel platforms, which is shaping the landscape of customer service and retention. Today, in today's world, we see that a lot of people are connected everywhere with each other and with the brands. It is very important and critical for the brands to manage these customer complaints effectively while ensuring high standards of customer satisfaction and retention. With omni-channel platforms in the picture, it is a very good chance for the brands to engage with our customers seamlessly through multiple touch points, while ensuring every complaint everywhere is managed effectively and is enhancing the customer experience. But this adoption does come with some complexities. It requires a seamless integration of technology, people, and processes to give that enhancement of customer experience while delivering customer service. Throughout our discussion today, we will explore the various aspects of adopting omni-channel platforms and the challenges it poses. I would thank our esteemed panelists for being here today and sharing these insights with us. Without further ado, I would like to direct my first question to Mr. Rajdeep Charan on what he feels are the key benefits of adopting omni-channel platforms for customer complaint management and retention.
Thank you. It's a great question. One of the key benefit is, of course, the customer experience with the omni-channel, because we've seen, with the technology as it is evolving, there are multiple channels available for consumers to interact with the brand. And a lot of people, or there are segments of people who feel comfortable with a particular channel. Some people are very comfortable with WhatsApp. Some people are very comfortable with Facebook. Some people are very comfortable or only want to interact with the brand on Twitter. Some people like calling, some people like writing in email. So the first biggest benefit that omni-channel experience delivers for your consumer is the ease of interaction and the customer experience that you are able to. The second biggest benefit based on my experience is the data. The quality of data that you generate throughout these platforms, that then gives you a deeper insight into your consumer behavior, their liking, disliking. WhatsApp will tell you what is the language that he is comfortable with, all of that. Twitter will tell you in terms of what kind of followers does he got. Should you be more proactive with him, or what kind of approach do you, so each of these platforms then gives you those deeper insights into consumer experience or the consumer itself, which you can then in turn use it for various other programs, targeting, marketing, renewals, all of those kind of things. So the two overarching benefit is the better customer experience and the quality of data that you generate, which in turn help you, further your business in terms of numbers or whatever the targets that you have. Apart from that, also it opens up a lot of new doors for you in terms of, 5 years back, commerce on WhatsApp was a nobody would even talk about it, but today it has become a very big. Commerce on bots have become very big. So it opens new avenues for you. It opens new ways and means for you to target your customers and maximize your revenue. So these are the 3-4 large benefits that I feel a omni-channel can deliver to a brand, based on my experience so far.
Thank you, Rajdeep. That was insightful. Moving on, my next question goes to Rakesh. How do you think businesses can ensure consistency across different channels when managing customer complaints?
Hi, good afternoon. It's already afternoon. Great. So when we speak about consistency towards the customer experience while interacting with different channels, so there are multiple things which we need to take care of. First is the consistency of the responses or the quality of the responses which is going to the consumers. There has to be a brand consistency across. So for example, if we are speaking to a consumer on a certain platform with a tone, the polite tone, or any humorous genre or anything, that has to be across the platforms. For example, if a customer comes up to writes us to on an email that my product is not delivered, when it will be delivered, and we responded to him on email, and when all of a sudden he comes to Twitter or X, we should not panic. Whatever the response we would have given him on the email, that same sort of response should go to the consumer. So maintaining a consistency across the answers which we give to the customers. This is first part. Second part is omnichannel, the buzzword omnichannel. So when a customer comes to you for an X platform, and you have taken up certain details from him, or you have done a half of the conversation around with the customers, and if he comes up with another medium all of a sudden, you should maintain the same kind of tempo. जैसे कि अभी कोई कंज्यूमर आया, उसने आधी बात तो आपसे कर ली, एंड ऑल ऑफ ए सडन उसको लगा कि नहीं, मुझे आई एम नॉट कंफर्टेबल इंटरेक्टिंग ऑन चैट बॉट, आई शुड कॉल टू समवन. तो अभी जब वो पहले उसने चैट बॉट पे अपनी आधी से ज़्यादा डिटेल्स दे दी थी, एंड ऑल ऑफ अ सडन ही कम्स अप ऑन ए कॉल, और एजेंट अच्छा उससे दोबारा पूछना चालू करता है, आपका नाम क्या है, कहाँ रहते हो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है. सो इट हर्ट्स टू द कंज्यूमर. सो कंसिस्टेंसी इज इन द फ्लो ऑल्सो, कि आपका फ्लो डिटर ना हो, एक जो चल रहा है कॉन्वर्जेशन चल रहा है, उसी कॉन्वर्जेशन को आप आगे कंटिन्यू कर सकें. थर्ड होती है द टोन, इन विच टोन यू नॉर्मली स्पीक टू कंज्यूमर. अभी जैसे एक टीवी चैनल है, वी शुड नॉट नेम, उसके सारे एंकर जोर जोर से चिल्लाते ही रहते हैं ना, जोर जोर से ये पूछते हैं वो पूछते हैं, सब जोर जोर से चिल्लाते हैं. अब वो कोई भी एंकर ले लीजिए उनका, राइट फ्रॉम देयर एडिटर इन चीफ टू द स्मॉलेस्ट ऑफ द एंकर. व्हेन यू गो टू अनदर टीवी चैनल, दे स्पीक्स इन सरकास्टिक स्टेटमेंट्स, वो सारे सरकास्टिक स्टेटमेंट ही देंगे. यू गो टू अनदर चैनल, वो एक बुजुर्ग एडिटर इन चीफ है उनके, वो सब धीरे धीरे फीबल वॉइस में ही बोलते हैं. अब वो उनका जो 26 साल का अनाउंसर है, वो भी फीबल वॉइस में बोलता है. सो दैट्स गुड, that entire channel, the particular channel is following the same tone. So this is how you maintain the consistency across the responses. And finally, the tools, what we speak about, all those tools, the ORM tools or the consumer communication tools, these tools are helping to maintain a uniformity so that the agent who is speaking to the customer or the chatbot who is interacting with the customer is aware of the entire history of communications, purchases, क्या product लिया है, क्या परचेज किया है, वो सब कुछ उसको पता है. सो दैट्स कंसिस्टेंसी ऐसे मैनेज कर पाएंगे.
Absolutely right when you say that if a customer approaches from one platform, the same information that we've gathered from that platform should be available to every agent working on this particular customer's case. This is what we also follow at Tata Neu, where if a customer has come to us on social media, the back-end agents managing their email or chat or whatever have the information provided by the customer from that platform readily available for them to pick up the conversation where it was broken. Thank you so much, Rakesh, for that. Next question is to Mr. Uday Bhosale. How important, we were actually discussing this during our break, and I want you to elaborate more on employee training. How important you think is employee training in ensuring effective complaint management in omni-channel environment?
Sure. Thanks for that, Benazir. Thanks, good question. So I feel we have, from tech front, we have got multiple channels. Now customers can interact with you through phone, good old pen and paper, social media, WhatsApp, normal bot on your website. However, the essence of it is the guy who is sitting behind this technology and helping customers. How often have you encountered calling up any service provider and getting wrong information? I'm sure there could be cases, right? It's because primarily the training part is missing. And I guess employee training in a customer service environment plays a major role in managing the omni-channel customer service setup. So, as you mentioned, we have multiple channels, but when we culminate all these channels to an omni-channel platform is the essence of how we deliver customer service and deliver the ROI for the organization we are working for. So it's important to hire right and train right. So many organizations I worked with earlier measures hiring and training quality, because that is the main way how we will hire agents and train them. So training involves majority of processes, which includes the product training. The person answering the call or replying to customer emails should have understanding of the product he's talking about, he's dealing with, the process designed around managing customer complaints for that particular product, the CRM which he's going to work on, the software, the backend, maybe ERP or a CRM, he has to be well versed with that CRM, and most importantly, the soft skills part, because that is the communication channel, the medium where he is going to communicate with the customers. And of course, the ongoing training and assessment. So all these major 5 factors contributes to training and managing customer service in an omnichannel platform. And as I mentioned, soft skills, it has to be ongoing. A skill which is acquired right now on a telephone, you might require a separate skill set for managing those customers on a Twitter, right? So how can we culminate all these traits into a specific group of individuals, or we train all, is something very important, right? So we need to ensure that we assess this training quality through various assessment methodologies, through quality feedback methodologies, and train and motivate our team members, the end users who are going to help the customers upfront, and that will really help to get the best out of an omnichannel platform. I hope that answers.
That does. Thank you, Uday. You actually touched upon a very important part there, where how important training is when it comes to different channels. So the information stays the same. Your knowledge management portal will have the same information for each agent to consume. But the way an email team or a call team will consume that and a social media team consumes that differs. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And top of that, of course, there are multiple channels, but we should have one mother CRM where all the complaints from these channels culminates. So if the customer calls, the agent who is answering the call should be able to find out that his customer has already tweeted a day back, and he could be able to join the dots to help the customer further.
Thank you, Uday. My next question goes to Siji. How do you think, first of all, I want to know how are customer complaints managed in healthcare sector? That is elusive to me. And how can businesses integrate their customer complaint management systems with existing CRM systems for better customer experience?
Yeah, thanks, Benaziri, for the question. I'd like to, first of all, thank Gains Skills for having me here. And, with this elite panel, and also the audience who has been intently listening to the entire sessions right from the morning. Rightly said, Benazir, healthcare is a little different from, say we as consumers, complaining about a service or a product. So as far as pharma is concerned, it is all about the medicine that, we all would take. And if there are any issues, right now what we do, we either go to a doctor and the doctor would tell the doctor that, we are facing this problem with this medicine. And it is the duty of the doctor then to complain to either the company or the drug authorities. Now, we all need to get educated ourselves that we also have the right or the power to complain in case we are facing any side effect with any medicine. So 2 ways. It could be either going through to the website that the company would have. All companies would have their websites wherein these complaints can be captured. Or there is a national platform as well that is called CDSCO or run by the Drug Controller General of India. And over there the complaints can be given. Yeah. Now this is the overview. I mean, just so that we understand, where or what the complaints or how they can be posted, okay? But when it comes to complaint, as far as pharma is concerned or medicines are concerned, these would be in 2 broad categories. One would be the adverse events okay? And the second would be product technical complaints. So, and all this would come under the purview of pharmacovigilance, which is very important, considering it's about the health of a patient, right? Or future patients who might take the same drug. So from a pharmacovigilance perspective, that would help in identifying what are the common side effects or common issues that the customers are facing or patients are facing for a future use. So these get consolidated and they are actually referred or reported to the drug authority for that specific country, and they would compile or they would see if there are any specific side effects that are emerging, which would even lead to the drug being, in extreme cases, removed from the market or banned, in a way, if I call it in layman terms, or the usage or the label can get changed, which means if it was being used in a specific group of patients where there were issues, so then for that set of patients, then it would get restricted. We saw some of that with the COVID vaccine as well. Yeah, we all might know that. Like if there were certain conditions like cardiac issues and all, it was recommended not to be given or at least to be monitored in those patients. So that is one as far as the intake of the medicine is concerned. Now, as far as the quality of the product is concerned, which is basically before the patient would consume the product. So if you see any discoloration, if you see any issues with the packaging, you would complain to the said company or to the authorities, and those would get addressed. Yeah. Now, a lot of systems are followed, or different systems are followed by the companies to capture these complaints. These would be, like for Bayer, we follow the Safe Track system. For other companies that I have noticed, they either outsource it to a professional company who can manage it, or they have their own system. And there are specific set of data that is captured, and in the area of drug or medicines, as well as with data privacy in place, it becomes important as to how much of data is revealed or how much of data is captured, right? So when we talk about marrying these two systems, okay, the system one that captures these issues and marrying it to CRM, it may not always be possible because of these, constraints which are there, right? But however, like as mentioned by the other panelists, that how soon or how well these complaints are addressed become important. And in fact, all our teams, coming back to the training part, the difference that we have in the pharma industry is that all the teams are trained to report the side effects which a doctor may tell them in 24 hours. So it's a mandate. Yeah. So everybody, all the sales team or the marketing team, anybody who's there in the company, if they come across a side effect or a complaint, they have to report it in 24 hours. So, so that's one of the things that becomes important in terms of how they are addressed. Now, CRM, I think it would primarily be, as far as adverse side effects are concerned or adverse events are concerned, as I mentioned, it would be primarily reporting. It may not be so much about redressing that complaint. Yeah? But in product technical complaints, it would be about taking care of the complaint or talking to the customer. And this is done by those teams by individually speaking either to the customer or to the sales team or the team members who had reported this complaint. So that's how it can be done. But it's like an appeal. Usually the drug controller, they have this safety week so that we all are aware about the side effects or about at least reporting the side effects. So we should all do that. Yeah, and because from a future use perspective, when all these side effects are consolidated, because usually in a clinical trial, it's not possible to capture all the side effects because every individual is different and we might face different complaints, yeah, different side effects. So all this gets captured so that future usage of the product can become even more safer. Yeah.
Thank you, Siji. One follow-up question. What is product technical?
Okay, so product technical complaint would be like, suppose if you're using a pack of a strip, okay, if the product is discolored, Okay, maybe the tablet is supposed to be white, but you see that it is some other color, or it's crumbling. Before you consume, whatever issues that you have is a product technical complaint.
Understood. Thank you so much for that. Now, Rajdeep, you mentioned about the benefits. What do you think are the challenges a business may face while implementing these omni-channel platforms?
Since I've done this in last 18 months, you are in for a ride if you are implementing a omni-channel right from the business case, because your management will always push you to take a more aggressive, transformation numbers. You will always be skeptical in terms of, if I commit based on this omni-channel experience that I'm building, I will get so much business benefit. Will I really get it? So again, drafting a business case itself, you will see these, dilemmas to what to put in terms of what benefits will it give. Then followed by vendors, which vendor to shortlist. There are vendors who will promise moon, sun, whatever you name it. They'll say my platform can do somersault. so they'll promise everything just to get the business. Then getting a right implementation partner. Again, companies will promise everything that we have done this, we have done that. So you have to be very careful in choosing a right partner to implement this. Followed by generally in a large organization or in big corporates, these practices have been followed, or the customer service practices have been followed for years. So there are processes, nuances. The way customer service in Calcutta will be different from Hubli, it will be different from Lucknow, it will be something followed in Jalandhar, something followed in Karnataka. So you will not find a single place where all of this is documented. And if you are somebody who's recently joined or not been long enough in the organization, you will always struggle to find out what exactly happens on the ground. Because you have to give that as a brief to the partner to build those processes, all of that. So documentation of the exact process requirement is the biggest hurdle that I have faced. Once you give the documentation, vendor starts working on it, then testing it. You need to have enough people with you in order to test all of those scenarios. You need to come up with scenarios. In our case, I think when we were implementing our omnichannel, we had written down some 2,000 plus scenarios. And my guess was we were still at only 60% of what we should have documented. So writing all those scenarios, saying that for the process to test, what happens in this case, what happened in that case, what if instead of typing the... So one error that we did is whenever we create any form, we are supposed to write mobile numbers. Now we assume that everybody will write mobile numbers. So we never tested what happens when somebody types 0 and doesn't type rest of the digits. So no things like those. So you'll have to, all of this should be documented, tested, before it goes live. So that's again a biggest challenge in terms of documenting processes, then explaining it to the vendor, he understanding it, then he giving you the solution process around it, then you testing it in a closed environment with system integration testing, then finally you taking it to the market and testing it on the ground with one city or one business partner or one particular process, and then rolling it out. Biggest challenge is the culture. At least in my previous organization, people were doing certain things certain way for last 10 years. Now suddenly you come in and says, नहीं ये screen पे ये ऐसा आपको ऐसे नहीं करना है, आपको ऐसे करना है. वो बोलेगा नहीं करूँगा. So again, अरे भाई कर ले, इससे तेरे को ये फायदा होगा. बोले नहीं मेरा फायदा बाद में देखेंगे. मैं तो 10 साल से ऐसे ही कर रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसे ही करूँगा. So culture is a biggest hurdle that you'll face when you go down, when implementing this. And then finally, what should be the beta period to test whether it's working or not working? Partners and vendors will always tell you to take 6 months, 8 months, 12 years. Business will always come and say, boss, it's been 45 days, nothing has moved. So you'll always be answering, नहीं boss हो रहा है, कुछ तो होगा, रुको थोड़ा देखो यहाँ देखो हिल गया है थोड़ा सा. So all of those will be there. And another problem that you'll face is you'll always have a deadline saying that this should be implemented by so and so date. And now when you actually write the process, you realize that it is going 3 months beyond it. Now, then you'll set up a compromise and say, okay, guys, I'll create something like MVP, minimum viable plan, and I'll implement that. And remaining, I'll do it in phase 2. So the phase 1 will get implemented. Phase 2, again, the team will disintegrate. Other priorities will come. Phase 2 will never get implemented, or it will take 2 years or 3 years to get phase 2. And your majority of your business benefit that you promised were parked in phase 2. So then you are in a struggle to say, boss, you promised in 3 months this will happen. Your needle has not moved much. So all of these are challenges that you'll face when you're implementing a large system which touch across the organization, across the customer base, across the multiple channels. My recommendation would be carve out a dedicated team, and that team should be at it at least 2 to 3 years to implement it fully. Otherwise, I don't think you'll get the benefit that you think of while buying such products. I hope I've answered it.
Absolutely, you did, Rajdeep. Thank you so much for briefly consolidating the challenges. I'm sure there are many more challenges. But moving on next, I am going to ask this question to Jay Parekh on how businesses can leverage customer feedback from complaints to enhance their overall customer experience.
So the industry that I come from is pathology, where it's more people dependent rather than being mechanical. So one is it helps us in defining processes. The voice of customer could be positive or negative. Helps us as being more innovative. Helps us in being more process oriented. Helps us in being more attentive when it comes to specific locations, as in what's going wrong or what's working well, what's not working well. So customer feedbacks is always taken very positively in this organization, where we try and capitalize on, as I mentioned, being more innovative, being more assertive, getting more trainings organized, focusing on better resolution, because eventually the key differentiator in this industry is that we're not dealing with customers, we're dealing with patients, right? Patients who are curious, patients who are nervous, anxious, and to get them the right solution, resolution is very imperative. And last but not the least, people don't really change our doctors quite often. We don't change our pathologist or the place where we do our blood test quite often. So the trust is very important. And what I personally feel is when the customer complains, it's an opportunity that customer is giving you to work upon, to be better, to make it better.
Rakesh, what do you feel about what Jay just said?
When we speak about feedback, we'll have to again, break the problem into pieces. So first thing is that feedback, when to collect, when not to collect. Whom you need to collect, whom you need not to collect. So for example, if recently an example, so I was staying in a hotel, the food was pathetic, the check-in was delayed, and the room was not quite comfy, and at the time of checkout, he asked me, sir, would you like to give me feedback? So मैं बोला मत ही पूछ यार मेरे से feedback, आंसू आ जाएंगे तेरे. So that way, when you need to collect the feedback, when the consumer is interacting with you on a chat bot, you collect a feedback immediately that whether it was a hassle-free experience for a ticket generation, and when nowadays when you call to any contact center, they'll say, sir, after this call a feedback link will come to you whether you would like to give the feedback, और हम कुछ आंसर देते हैं उससे पहले वो हमको कनेक्ट कर देता है. अब आपको आंसर देना ही नहीं देना. So I am not sure the percentage about other industries, but in our industries जब आप कॉल का फीडबैक लेने जाते हो, it is less than 5%, क्योंकि कंज्यूमर को जो बोलना होता है वो बोल चुका होता है और he is not interested into giving feedback. So it is very important that you hit at the right point when consumer is willing to give the feedback. Again, very important point. Now secondly, when you get the feedback, you will have to categorize it. Now many times it happens that हम उसको categorize नहीं करते हैं. तो categorization means ये AC मतलब यहाँ पे ज़्यादा ठंडा है या कुर्सी बैठने के लिए comfortable नहीं है. You have to categorize. So sometimes everything boils. I was speaking to someone in the session. Everything boils down to service. Service अच्छी नहीं है. Service अच्छी नहीं है. So a consumer who has bought a 1-ton AC for a hall, and वो cooling नहीं आ रही है, and now the pressure comes up from the management, yeah, you are not able to satisfy the customer. So it is not the problem with the AC, it is not problem with the engineer who is attending that customer, problem is with the application or the selection of the product. So you need to, when you take a feedback from the consumer, why he is not happy or why he is so happy, you need to categorize it into buckets, whether it's an application issue, whether it's a product issue, or whether it's an service issue, any sort of issues, categorization is very important. Now converting feedback, Again, you have to do the root cause analysis. जैसे मैंने बताया ये एक application issue था. So for example, if a particular model consumers are complaining more कि ये कार का एवरेज कम है और वो सारे के सारे जो उस कार के ओनर है वो बोल रहे हैं एवरेज कम है, then you need to deep dive into it. Root cause analysis करना पड़ेगा that what went wrong, whether it is not suitable to Indian requirements or all these consumers are using this in Mumbai Sakinaka traffic. तो नहीं आएगा एवरेज. Product would be okay, but they are using it at the, you are collecting feedback at the wrong place. So उसको categorization again root cause analysis करना पड़ेगा, and post that root cause analysis you will have to convert into actionable insights. जैसे मैंने साइलो बनाने पड़ेंगे आपको, उसको आइसोलेट करना पड़ेगा एक इशू से. यू विल हैव टू आइसोलेट द इश्यूज in between 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. There could be number of isolations, and then you will be able to convert into, जैसे मैंने मेरे presentation में बोला कि वो most of the consumers get irritated when they have to listen to this jingle for long. सुने जा रहे हैं, गाना सुने जा रहे हैं, तो वो dissatisfaction आ जाता है. So you got an insight कि these many set of consumers are dissatisfied with the customer effort score. To reach us, they are taking much more efforts. Then you need to increase the agents. Contact center पे आपके agents बढ़ाने. So now you converted the feedback, you categorized it, you did a root cause analysis, and then you converted into an actionable insight कि इससे हमारे को actionable insight मिली कि हमने यहाँ पे agents change कर दिए. So these are some of the things where you need to convert feedback into actionable insights and end of the day to customer loyalty.
Thank you, Rakesh. You rightly mentioned that where your effort goes should be managed properly. So to give you an example, we at Tata Neu realized that most of our customers reaching out for our financial products were reaching out for basic queries, which could have been an FAQ or which a bot could resolve. And a lot of agents were caught up in managing those, and the queries which actually needed some investigation or some efforts, they were getting sidelined. So we developed a technology solution for this, and now 70% of these cases are directly handled by the bot, and it does not even flow to the agents. And our agents are more focused on customers who require the actual help. So rightly mentioned, thank you so much for that. My next question goes to Abhijeet. Abhijeet, what role does technology play in enabling effective omni-channel complaint management?
First of all, thank you, Benazir, and thank you, Gain Skills, for having me here. It's a very insightful discussion going on. So, but before answering your question, Benazir, I would say a little bit of background of the industry where I come from. So basically, in our industry, the painters and applicators play a very important role. And that's what is seen across the buying pattern as well, in terms of the complaints we receive as well. So just to give you the context, through our call centers, first of all, omni-channel is a table stake now. I mean, you can't say that I have a bot, so I'm differentiated. I have a customer complaint mechanism through website, so I'm differentiated. These are table stakes now. I think no other brand, no other industry will exist now which will not have these kinds of consumer complaint. So the most important parameter, I think most of the panelists said, is how you respond to that. First and the foremost, the most important thing. Second is what you just mentioned about Tata Neu is how much of the answers can be given on spot. So when we were setting up, I'll come to your question, Ben, just bear with me for 30 seconds. So, about the omni-channel and technology, but before that, you have to understand who are your end consumers, what kind of queries they are looking for. As the gentleman said that in the patient industry, it's very different. When it's electrical, it's very different. So in our case, 90% of the calls which we receive through our call centers, or you'll be surprised through even Twitter and Facebook or Instagram as well, are the painters. Hardly 5% is the end consumers who come to us, that your white cement is not working or your putty is not working. So first of all, this was a surprising element for us as well. Painters reaching out to Birla White through Instagram. So that was a revelation in itself. Second is, then we realized that 80 to 85% of the questions are same. As you said, iska price kya hai? ये कहाँ मिलेगा? इसमें टोकन कितना है? इसमें पानी कितना मिलाना होता है? So 80% of the questions are common. So of course, then somebody said training your agents. First of all the technologies which we have, So we realized that they were working in silos. Now coming to your question, to answer your question, Benazir. So for example, the call center is a standalone practice we have. Then there is a social media, there is an online listening mechanism, which is a second infrastructure platform which we have. Then there is a application, which is a painter application platform for us, where 5 lakh painters are associated with us. So that's a different platform for us. So the first thing we said, okay, we cannot connect many systems because of many challenges. I think somebody also referred that how difficult it is to connect all the CRM together. But one thing you can do is how to connect all the feedback and the query which you are getting in a real time at one place. So that's the first thing we did. So today, if anybody you can try, in the building and construction, we are still better in that, in the industry. If you write something on Twitter right now, within 24 hours, you will receive a call from Birla. So usually in building and construction, it doesn't happen like this. So whether you write in Twitter or you write in Instagram or you call me or you write through my website or through send me an email, finally, it gets collected to one particular system. And there are agents to handle that. So that's the first pass of the technology which you talked about. You might have various systems. You might have WhatsApp bot. You might not, I'm sure you will have. But is it all connected to each other is the question. Because now when we interact with the technology partners, we realize that very few companies have done that, connecting the entire platform together. And that's, I think, one major change which is happening right now. Because you need to have, because you cannot have different answers. Somebody said you can't answer differently to a different question. So वो तभी possible है when you have one set of competency existing somewhere. Now, the technology which coming back to the technology part. So as I said, there is a lot of things happening. Bots are there. Now, it's the most fancy word now, bot. I need to have a bot. But the question is, do painters really need a bot? I was surprised to hear 6 months back, a study by PricewaterhouseCoopers, that in the customer experience, which is a buzzword right now, 80% of the consumers still wants to be heard. मतलब बात करना है. So you might have bot, but have you really saturated your conversation? Does consumer reach out to you in less than 30 seconds? So those are the questions which the brands have to really answer them very sincerely. But one last point now, is like artificial intelligence, the new buzzword, is the first problem is how do you connect your system? Because I'm not answering that they're a bot, they're this, because I'm saying these are table stakes. So the first challenge for the brands are how do I connect each one of them and consolidate at one place? That's the technology of the future. Second is the role of AI there. Now, we're trying to implement something in our system is like a painter called me to my call center and the real-time information the agent gets that, boss, ये आपके loyalty program का part नहीं है. So he might be calling for something कि आपका ये पुट्टी नहीं चल रहा, आपका ये waterproofing यहाँ नहीं चल रहा, there is a sogging, etc., etc. But real time the system understands, the agent who is answering the call understands that he is not part of your loyalty app platform. The moment he keeps the phone, he receives a WhatsApp which talks about my expert club program, which is a complete different system. So I feel connecting all the platform at one place, giving a very standardized answer which actually the consumer is looking for. And second is, can the brands go a step beyond? That he called my hospital or he called my particular service for something, but the natural translation will be that this could be his next level of doubt. And can I give him some information? So I feel that's where the technology is moving and it will move fast. I don't know, long answer, but whether I answered your question correctly, Manager.
You did. Thank you, Abhijeet. That was insightful. Yes.
I just want to add one more point on technology. Today, particularly technology, in terms of what technology get used in Omnichannel, is largely driven and determined by the .coms. Amazon, Swiggy, Ola, Uber, whatever. So whatever technology they use in order to give their experience to the consumer, that's your engine. That's where the consumer experience is going, because they are defining it, everything. For a brand like Panasonic, Mahindra, Club Mahindra, we are not tech companies. Okay, so the way technology they understand and they use and they define, other outside .com or they will always play a catch-up game. Today you take an example of one of the largest banks, say HDFC. Look at the HDFC app. They don't have lack of fund, but HDFC doesn't understand technology the way Ola understands it. or the way Swiggy understands it. So my sense on technology is that brands who are outside tech, they will always play a catch-up game, and their experience on any of the omni-channel will not be as good as, because you will probably hire one CTO, one project manager, but Swiggy will have an army of people. Even their basic manager will understand the tech much better than your most people in your organization. So on a tech side, most companies do a catch-up game, and in that, most vendors take brands for a ride. मेरा प्लेटफॉर्म ये कर सकता है, वो जब वो डिलीवरी करेगा तो पता चलेगा कि ये तो हो ही नहीं रहा है और आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ये हो क्यों नहीं रहा है. Then you will call some consultant, then he'll charge you 3 crores just to explain and say कि नहीं नहीं भैया आप ओला से उसको हायर कर लो, he'll do it for you.
Just two cents on this. You're right, sir. I mean, of course, the technology company will always have the edge. So what Ola can do, of course, in terms of technology, I can't do. But one thing we can do as a brand, I know my customers better than Ola knows. So if I know my customer, technology will come. The first thing is, what is my customer looking for is what I feel. That's why whenever my brand team or the technology team comes, ye laga dete hain, suddenly there is a generative AI thing coming up, etc., fancy words coming up. My first question to the team is, what is it going to solve? Because the generative AI provider will give you technology, but he doesn't know your customer. I know my customer. What is he looking for?
Yeah, that's the precise point. Play to your strength. Like I'm Club Mahindra. My strength is the resort. Once you enter the resort, I can beat Ola, Uber hands down. But I can't beat Uber on the cab drive because they will always give a better experience in terms of how to book the cab, for me, you'll have to call up the reception, then somebody will call you back. So your strength is giving a better, in case of Panasonic, it is technology of the product. They can make Ola will never be able to make the kind of AC that they make. But then you will not be able to match them on technology for sure, no matter what you do.
Ola will never be able to understand the customer. You know, the live example, the Ola driver is calling me for the 10th time. I have disconnected it 10 times, but he's continuously calling me up. So that's how, the tech, as you rightly mentioned by Rajdeep, the people, consumer should know the consumer, that if somebody is disconnecting a call, means he is occupied. But he is driven by technology. So he cannot wait beyond 5 minutes. That's what the algorithm, his system is decided on. So varies people to people.
Absolutely right. And all of our esteemed panelists have rightly touched upon the key elements of technology, people, and processes coming together to provide customer experience, which Ola just missed. Our next question is towards Siji. Siji, how can businesses use data analytics to improve their complaint management and retention strategies?
Yeah, Benazir, good question. I think it is all like a culmination of whatever got discussed in terms of what data gets captured, right, from the customers in terms of complaints. So I'd like to put it like this, that if we have to see, and also from a marketing perspective, these can actually help, this data can actually help in designing, one, to resolve the queries or the complaints. Second is also to design strategies for the brand. So therefore, this is critical in terms of how this gets analyzed. Once the analysis is done, I think it can work in few ways. I'll explain it this way. I'll call it 3C PR. So 3 C's and PR. Okay, so let me take it one by one. So the first one is the customer. I would look at it more from the segmentation of the customer. Okay, so based on the queries or complaints that are coming in, is there a way that these complaints can be categorized as per their segment? Okay, maybe it is younger people who is giving that complaint, or elderly people are getting that, giving that complaint. So then, that way, that data can actually help in segmenting the customer. Second C is communication. So basically, to address these segments and the complaint that are coming in, what kind of communication can be developed and offered to address that complaint? Okay, so this C. The third C is capacity building. Now, when I say capacity building, it is about training, which got covered. But I'd like to give one example here, like the complaints can be coming in because the customer, or say in my case, I'll give an example, the doctors may not be fully trained to use the product appropriately, and therefore the complaints are coming in. So this can be taken care by capacity building or training. Okay, so 3 C's. The next one is P, that is P or product or packaging. So if there are issues that are there with the product, in terms of, it could be as simple as they're not able to open the pack, or it's difficult to open the cup syrup bottle. Okay, so that's a product change that needs to be done to give a satisfying experience to the customer. The last one, 3CPR, is R is rates. And here by rates, I mean satisfaction rates or fulfillment rates. So after all this is done, do we have that analysis of whether the customer is happy with the redressal of the complaint that has, we all have spoken about. So all this is important, and this would help in retailing the loyalty of a customer, which would actually help people who are designing the strategies to retain that customer and also have new customers coming in because of this experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Siji. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our panel discussion today. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists here today for sharing their valuable insights and contributions. Your expertise and perspectives have shed light on the complexities and the challenges and opportunities that we have while implementing omnichannel platforms for effective customer complaint management and retention. Throughout our conversations, we explored the power that omnichannel platforms carry to enhance customer experience and drive business success. From leveraging data analytics to customer centricity, to implementing strategies where we integrate different solutions for different and multiple channels, will of course help us to improve and take customer service to new heights. It does come with its challenges, of course, but a holistic approach of integrating processes, technology, and people will help. So above all, I feel customer centricity lies at the heart of everything that we here are discussing and doing to improve customer experience. Every complaint is an opportunity for us to build a long-lasting relation with the customers, and that's what we are going to drive for. So here's to managing and enhancing customer experience, one omni-channel interaction at a time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks and panelists for sharing their insights on importance of adopting omni-channel platforms. To do the honors, I request Mr. Rakesh Gupta to please come forward and felicitate all the panelists and moderators.